Welcome to IFAStories, where ancient wisdom meets modern storytelling. Step into the sacred world of Ifa, the Yoruba spiritual system, where every tale carries the power of divination, destiny, and deep cultural insight. Join us as we unravel the mysteries of the Orishas, the divine forces guiding our paths, Òrúnmìlà, the Iron Moles, and many more. Each story is a bridge between the past and the present, weaving timeless lessons that inspire, enlighten, and transform. Embrace the wisdom, honor the tradition, and journey with us into the heart of Ifa. Subscribe now and let the stories guide you. To explore full Yoruba stories, Ifa teachings, and ancestral wisdom, visit our website, www.ifastories.com. Step into the sacred path for more resources and information. The Pact between Odùdúwà, Òrúnmìlà, and Death. Note: this Ifa explains why Odùdúwà speaks through Ifa. Pact, sacred story. In the early days after the world was ordered, Òrúnmìlà and Odùdúwà were two brothers who loved each other dearly and lived in the land of Ilé-Ifẹ, where there was great poverty. Because of this, one day they decided to emigrate to other lands, each one taking his daughter with him. Òrúnmìlà took Paraye, and Odùdúwà took Olose, both daughters of Sun. After passing through many lands, they arrived at a forest where Òrúnmìlà and his daughter felt hungry. Since they had no food, Odùdúwà said, "Watch over Olose while I go into the forest to try to hunt something." But since Odùdúwà couldn't catch anything, he said to himself, "My brother and his daughter must not go hungry." Then he took out his tongue, cut the tip off with a knife, placed some IFA in his mouth, lit a fire, cooked it, wrapped it in herbs, and brought it to Òrúnmìlà so that he and his daughter could eat. Since Òrúnmìlà was so hungry, he didn't realize what it was and thought it was a miracle from Ofun. After that, Odùdúwà placed a piece of obi in his mouth and spoke perfectly again. They continued their journey until they reached a very arid place, but the blood lost and the exhaustion weakened Odùdúwà, who said to Òrúnmìlà, "My brother, I am wounded and have lost a lot of blood. Continue on your path and look for the river. When I feel better, I will follow you. Let me see the wound. Perhaps I can heal it," replied Òrúnmìlà. And upon seeing that it was his tongue, he immediately understood his brother's sacrifice and wept inconsolably. Then he took a piece of obi, sprinkled Ifa on it, placed it in Odùdúwà's mouth, and the bleeding stopped. Thus, Odùdúwà spoke perfectly again, this time through his tongue of obi. Together, they reached the great river. At that place, Òrúnmìlà said to Odùdúwà, "Since your tongue is now made of obi, I will speak for both you and me. I will go far from here to seek my fortune. I leave you my daughter Paraye, so you may care for her." Taking his opal, he departed at once. Time passed, and Odùdúwà began to hear of his brother Òrúnmìlà's growing fame as a diviner, which brought him great joy. But not long after, sorrow struck. First, Olose fell gravely ill and passed. Then, Òrúnmìlà's own daughter, Paraye, followed. Grief united the brothers once more. He made a large grave to the west of a ceiba tree, buried them both, and wept bitterly. The next day, Òrúnmìlà came to visit. Alarmed by Odùdúwà's somber mood, he asked, barely greeting him, about his daughter Paraye. Odùdúwà replied, "Ah, my brother, what great sorrow I carry. Yesterday your daughter died of an unknown illness." Òrúnmìlà said, "Take me to where you buried them." Upon arriving, Òrúnmìlà said to Odùdúwà, "Do you remember our power? Let us call upon our brother Òrún, who is the Kunrin of Kukuto, death." Òrúnmìlà prepared his divination tray, and Odùdúwà his sacred bell. Together they invoked Òrún, who appeared immediately and asked them what they wished. They replied, "To return life to our daughters buried yesterday in this grave." Òrún said, "All right, but for that you must feed Kukuto, Abo, and Bogbo Tenuyen. Then open the grave, place all the offerings inside, and close it again." They called Òrún and Kukuto, fed them, opened the grave, and to their great surprise, found their daughters alive. They took them out and buried Abo and Bogbo Tenuyen in their place, then closed the grave again. Then Odùdúwà and Òrúnmìlà made a sacred pact, agreeing they would always respect each other and never harm one another. They prepared a clay tile and marked it with the signs Oyeku Meyi, Otura Niko, Oragun, and Ofun. They placed the tile inside a hole and around it put 16 balls of fufu made of calabash and taro, with 1 atare, alligator pepper, in each fufu ball. One of them stood inside the hole, invoking the signs Kanran Huani, Koseitura, and finally, Òrúnmìlà made a blood offering, Irebale, inside the grave. Then each took an obi kola nut, placed it on the neck of a rooster, touched their own forehead, and threw it onto the clay tile. They joined hands and sealed the pact. They closed the hole, and from that moment, all four, Òrúnmìlà, Odùdúwà, Paraye, and Olose, respected each other, and Òrúnmìlà was given power to save from death. Final notes: Odùdúwà, Òrúnmìlà, Paraye, and Olose each stood on a cardinal point. This explains why Odùdúwà's Ita, oracle reading, is conducted through Ifa Ikin, sacred palm nuts. Additionally, it reveals the meaning of the pact with death. Yeku Meyi represents Kukuto. Ragun represents Run. Gunda Fun represents Odùdúwà. Tura Niko represents Òrúnmìlà. Kanran Huani represents Esu, who truly seals the pact, for he arranges and disrupts at will. Finally, the sign, Setura, is invoked, so that what is started may never end, thus sealing the eternal pact.